Okay, I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Get Your Play Online Fun in the Kitchen. My name is Rebecca, and today we are going to be making chocolate covered bananas and yogurt dipped bananas. I'm super excited to get started. This is a great activity to do in the summer to have a nice sweet treat that is a little on the healthier side. We are going to use a few different ingredients, so I'll go ahead and get started now, but I'll also talk through a few of the ways that you can modify this or just use what you have around the house. There are some things that I had to change with the things that I had around, so I'll be sure to talk about all the different ways that we can do this activity. I first will show you the product. I made one earlier and had my little brother test it, and he said they were delicious. So this is what it's going to look like. I put it on a stick. I feel like carnival food often comes on a stick, and so I had a vision of a little frozen banana on a stick. I think you can see that. I also have here, so last night I prepared by um, freezing my bananas. I cut some up into little circle shapes so that you could have little banana bites. And then I also have some that I have cut in half, peeled, and then frozen overnight. It works a lot better if the bananas are already frozen. That way they're more sturdy and the chocolate sticks to them a little easier and sets up really quickly when they're frozen. When the banana isn't frozen, it kind of gets a little mushy, which is totally fine. You can do that as well, but this is just the prep that I did beforehand. I also have with me, I don't know if you can see on my stove, I have a little double broiler. This is what we're going to use to melt the chocolate. This is a little bit dangerous, requires some parental or adult supervision. It's very hot, and the way that it works is that you melt the chocolate in a little bowl over some simmering water, and it slowly melts the chocolate evenly so that it's nice and smooth and there's no lumps or clumps or anything. The chocolate I have over here is about 1 cup of chocolate. I put it in a little bowl, and I'm just using regular chocolate chips. You can use chocolate melts or just any kind of chocolate chips that you have in the house. Those happen to be the ones that I have, but the chocolate might melt a little better if you have like the specific melting chocolate, but I found it just as easy to use regular chocolate chips that I had in my house. I also have a mason jar for when we're ready to dip the bananas, and some little skewers that I cut in half. The original recipe I found calls for popsicle sticks, and I didn't have any popsicle sticks, so I'm using skewers. You can also use some other form of wooden stick if you have something laying around the house, or you don't have to put them on a stick at all. I just think they're really cute looking on a stick, and when I think of carnival food, I think of food on a stick. So let's go ahead and get started before our bananas melt. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually start melting the chocolate. And this, again, should be done under the supervision of an adult, or if you're old enough, maybe you can help with stirring, but it is very hot, and I want to make sure that we're all being safe. I'm using an oven mitt so that I don't burn myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chocolate and pour it into the bowl that I have over the pot. It looks like it's a lot of chocolate, but we're going to do a lot of bananas today, so I want to make sure that we had enough to get it going. There's a lot of different ways you can do this activity. I chose chocolate and yogurt because I feel like those are the most traditional. You can use peanut butter, you can get creative and put toppings on it, you can do nuts, you could use sprinkles. I chose to just leave them plain for now, but it could be a fun decorative activity with your kids or your siblings if you choose to do like some little decorations or even like drizzle them with peanut butter. There's all kinds of different things that you can do with it. While your chocolate is melting, you want to stir it just to make sure that it doesn't burn, or that you want to make sure you're controlling the melting as much as you can. I have my stove on low right here, and the water is just barely simmering, like it's not boiling or anything. And I'm just using a spatula to stir around the chocolate. Hopefully I'll be able to show you guys what it looks like when it's all melted. I don't want to spill it. This does require a little bit of preparation in terms of having your bananas frozen beforehand. I chose to freeze them unpeeled, and then I cut some up as well, just so it was a little bit easier to use once we're actually starting to dip them. I also am going to get my yogurt from the fridge that I have. I have a little bit of yogurt here that we're going to use for the other bananas. You can use any flavor of yogurt. I chose to do vanilla, just that's what I have on hand, but you can do strawberry yogurt. You can do pretty much any flavor you want, whichever flavor you like. My favorite flavor is vanilla yogurt, but I know there's a lot of people that like fruity yogurts. While the chocolate is melting, you want to be sure to stir it. I don't know about anyone else, but every time I ever went to my county fair, I'd always get frozen treats on a stick, whether that was like ice cream or fried Oreos or chocolate covered bananas. And so I have very fond memories of going to the fair and getting a sweet treat. And so I think that this treat aligns perfectly with our theme for this week, which is circus and carnival. This is a great way to bring a little bit of the carnival home. I know that we're all at home right now, and so it's fun to try something new. I had never made these before until I decided I was going to do this, and so it's been fun learning how to work with chocolate and what techniques work best. I'm no chocolatier, but I do think I've learned a lot while making this, and I've learned a lot about how to be safe around melted chocolate and the stove. It's always good to have some kind of supervision. So this chocolate is almost done melting. I'm just stirring it around to make sure that all the little nibs are melted and that our chocolate will be smooth. The way that I'm going to do it, I'm going to use my hands. I made sure that I washed my hands before I started, and I'm going to use my hands to dip the bananas in the chocolate once I've transferred it into the mason jar. If you're a kid watching this, you might want to ask your parents or your guardian or an older adult to help you transfer the chocolate into a cup. I'm using a mason jar because my mom has a nice collection of mason jars. You might be able to see behind me, but you can use any kind of cup or glass as long as it's a little bit taller, so it's easier to coat the banana. Okay, this chocolate looks just about done. I'm stirring it to make sure that it's all melted. I'm going to turn off my stove, and I'll try and show you the melted chocolate. So this is the melted chocolate. I'm going to pour it into this mason jar I have right here. This is very, very hot. So again, you want to be sure that you have an adult with you who might be able to help you. And be sure to use an oven mitt to make sure that you don't burn your hand, because that would not be good. Try and stay very safe out here. Okay, so I have my chocolate. I'm going to set this aside. Here you'll see all the chocolate here in the mason jar. And I'm gonna bring the bananas over here so it's a little easier for you to see. So I'm gonna take my frozen banana and I'm gonna dip it. I'm gonna go about halfway. I don't want it to be too chocolatey. And I'm gonna let a little bit run off like this. That's what it looks like. And I'm gonna place it on a piece of parchment paper. Then I'm gonna do some of the little pieces as well. I'm gonna take my fork with a little piece of banana and I'm gonna put it in. I put it in, I'm gonna flip it around, cover it in some chocolate, and I'm gonna place this also on this parchment paper I have over here. And I'm gonna repeat this step with a few more of these banana pieces. Trying to coat it all in the chocolate and being sure not to lose it in there. So you can see you can put as much or as little chocolate as you like. I'm choosing to cover them pretty heavily. Let's do another one. I'm also going to do 2 of the bigger bananas in the yogurt. So we have 2 big bananas in yogurt and then 2 in chocolate, and then we have the little pieces that have chocolate and they will have yogurt as well. Okay, so this piece is not quite sticking as well as I hoped, but chocolate is chocolate and anything will do. Now, I'm gonna wipe my hands off because I have a lot of chocolate on my hands. 1 second. Okay, now we're gonna do the yogurt bananas. I'm gonna move this chocolate to the side, get my yogurt. Again, I'm just using plain vanilla yogurt. And I'm gonna take the banana and I'm gonna dip it in this little jar here. And I'm gonna use the spoon to help me cover it a little bit. And maybe spread it around with the spoon. Get some of that good yogurt on there. Spread it around. Again, I'm only going about halfway because that's how much I want on mine. And you might want to make it a little bit of a thinner layer, just like this. And I'm going to put that over here on our parchment. The bananas are melting a little bit because the stove is hot. That's okay. Let's do one more with the yogurt. Now I'm doing this over the bowl as to try and make as little of a mess as possible. Dipping it in, spreading it around, trying to cover as much of the banana as I can. And the great thing about this is that we're going to eat it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be however you like. Let me wipe my finger off. Okay, now I'm going to take a fork, and like I was doing with the chocolate ones, I'm going to take a piece, put it inside, kind of coat it around, roll it around in the yogurt, making sure it's nice and covered. And then I'm going to use my fork and my spoon to pull it out, like this. This will also go on the parchment. It's kind of a lot going on over here, but you can do whatever you like. That's the great thing about this, is that you can tweak this recipe to whatever you have in your house or whatever your personal preference is. We have 2 more little pieces of banana here. I'm just going to cover them in the yogurt. And then what we're going to do is you need to let it sit for a little while. So you'll want to freeze them again before you can enjoy them. This is our last piece, and it's going in the yogurt. Okay, last one. Now all of our pieces are covered. I'm gonna bring it over to show you. Oh, if you can see. Let's see, maybe I can tilt this down a little bit. You might be able to see the chocolate bananas and the yogurt bananas, and I have them on a tray with some parchment paper. And I'm gonna put them in my freezer, but I want to show you another thing that you can do. Like I said before, I don't have any popsicle sticks, but I do have these skewers that I cut. Again, I would encourage you to have an adult cut these. My mom actually cut these for me. So I'm gonna try and stick it in this banana that I already done, the example banana. And there you have it. A banana on a stick covered in chocolate. These are a delicious summer treat that I'm going to let freeze up for a little bit, and then I'm gonna let my family enjoy them later. I hope that you guys had fun and watched everything that I did and maybe did it alongside me. All I did was melt the chocolate, prepared the yogurt, and prepared the bananas beforehand. And you can do this with any ingredients that you have. I chose yogurt and chocolate because that's what I had, but again, you can decorate them, you can use peanut butter, and these are a fun, sweet summer treat, and they're perfect carnival food. Now, I'm going to put these back in the freezer. And I will enjoy them later. Remember to be sure that you are safe when you're melting the chocolate. Use a little oven mitt like I did to hold the pot while you're stirring, or have an adult do it for you. I had to practice a lot of times before I felt comfortable melting the chocolate, so don't be afraid to ask for help, and always be sure to wash your hands and clean your station before and after so that everything stays nice and clean and sanitary. That's it. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the live now. I hope everybody enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.